What is going on, everybody? I hope you guys are doing fantastic. What a week it was last week. The futures are not open yet. We are closed on, market is closed on Monday. Being said, it's going to be a short week, so we'll see what's really going to happen. I know Friday we had that crazy sell-off. I know Biden had mentioned some stuff about darker days coming. Being said, with that being said, I mean, it really tanked the market at the end of the day. So I wasn't too happy about that. I mean, most of my stocks, most of my positions, I should say, are pretty solid right now. Again, I'm mostly shares and leaps on everything. I did sell a lot of stuff on Friday, a lot of my short-term stuff. NGA being one of them. I had two positions. I had one longer position out, and then I had also a monthly, I believe, call on that. So I sold both of those. It pushed up overnight, and I sold both of those. I sold the shorter term one, and then I held on to the other one for a little bit more. Didn't pump at all anymore, so I sold it. And then just before we started selling off. But being said, before we really dive into the rest of this, let's go ahead and slam a like down and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And continuing on, what are we looking for next week? There's a lot going on next week. Next week we got change of power. Being said, where do we go from here? I know Trump, I know there were some things that came out. I don't know if it was a conspiracy theory or something that happened in the past, but someone was talking about martial law. I have no idea what it was about, to be honest. There's a lot of stuff out there floating around about what might happen before the inauguration and all that stuff. So I really don't know. I really don't care. I just watch the market. I don't like to get political. It is what it is, whatever side you're on. I'm not going to get in a political war and who should be what and where and whatnot. I want to know is how does it affect the market? Being said, let's go ahead and see what my plan is for this week. Again, I'm doing this on Saturday. I don't know how the market's going to open tomorrow. I do not know how the market's going to open tomorrow, the futures anyway, and then you got another day, so you got another day of futures moving. So it really doesn't know what happens tomorrow, or it's really going to come down to Monday night, right? So ultimately, I'll get out another video Monday night after looking at the futures, but I kind of just wanted to give a broad outlook on what I'm looking at for this week. Again, it really depends. Right now, a lot of stuff is at support. So it's kind of interesting to see. Like right now, as you can see, futures are at a good support right now. It has bounced out of here. I thought after that bounce we were good, but that's exactly when that news came out and just dumped. So we don't want to break this. Next level down is 37.18. And the next level down from that, I got 36.62. And SPY, so obviously same thing. But I'm thinking, I just think the wordplay on Friday was unnecessary. And why we sold off, but I'm hoping for recovery. I think it's just setting up for earnings. I don't really think we're going to tank right now. Again, the wording needs to be a little bit better, but we'll see. Let's see, on Friday, Tesla, I did have that call coming in. I sold it for profit. It sold off. I actually got in the bottom of this range, this small little range here, this consolidation. I grabbed a couple shares of Tesla. I wanted to start kind of building a position. I really wanted to come back down to this 18 for Tesla. This range in here. Actually, remove this. If it could actually come down to this 808 or something, if it can even come down closer to the, I wouldn't be surprised if it hits this and then we wick down to the 200 moving average here, and then start moving back up. I'm gonna pick up a couple shares for this and try to write it into earnings. That's my plan with Tesla. Tesla is a bit high, but I think it's still going to run and pop a little bit. I think we can still try to test that 1,000 mark for earnings. And then after that, I think everything after that will really die down. So that's just my opinion. Take it for what it is worth. Airbnb. This, I actually caught a little bit right on this. It hit the zone and I got into it. I really, actually the zone down here. I got into it. I just didn't really like the market. It was a bear flag at that point, but then it started, I was expecting it to push up because it was a solid support. So being said, right, it was at a pretty solid support, even though this is an IPO, it was still holding well. It bounced off there once already. So being said, so I was really watching that support here. And I just didn't want to hold it. I was in weekly calls here to try to scalp this and try to get it back up, pump back up to 176, but it didn't happen. I was okay with it. I took a little bit of a loss, not that big of a deal. I really don't care. I made some good profit this week, being said, so I wasn't concerned about that, taking the loss. But I want to get in another strong position in Airbnb. I'm really kind of, I mean, if it could come back down to 157, or back at IPO price, right? If we can get it back down there, that would be fantastic. But is that going to happen? I don't know. It really just, again, like I've said in a couple of my other videos here, I'm kind of wary about Airbnb only because of the fact that, I mean, I think it's going to be the breakout stock of the year. If everything goes back to somewhat normal, people get out and people are doing things, Airbnb is going to rocket through the roof. But being said, news can drop, lockdowns, especially right now, still being just going into winter and stuff. I can really see this dropping, right, dramatically if some news comes out with lockdown. So that's my only concern. So I don't want to try to hold this for too long, but we'll see how that goes. SQ, still in this, have shares. It did drop back down to the zones, solid support. So I do like that. I almost added on, but I did not. I'm waiting to see what happens here. I wanted to see what happens on Tuesday morning. If for some reason it comes back down to this 217, I will definitely be looking to be adding more. I think ultimately going into earnings, I think this is probably my front runner aside from Tesla. So these Tesla and SQ, like I said, are my favorite stocks as far as fundamentals and everything. Those are my favorite stocks. So I'm more than willing to load the boat on those two particular stocks. Airbnb also would be one of those stocks if we were in a normal environment again. It would definitely be one. So I'm watching SQ, still holding shares in that position. Let's see what we got. Apple's still playing range well. I'll take a position. I'll actually want to get a leap of Apple. I get something going in earnings for Apple. If it drops down to this 125 mark, I want to take something in earnings. I know the Apple phone sales might be good this year, especially with all the stimulus that's circulating. I think that would be a good play too. But we'll see. I want it down lower. If it does break the range, I'm not sure how much we're going to sell. I think that's what my concern is, that if we can get to this range, I think it would be good. That'd be a big enough sell that I'd be comfortable in getting some pretty strong positions. Facebook, I'm still sitting in that leap from up here. That leap is held well. I was actually pretty well in the green, and then it obviously dropped back down, but it's setting up perfectly for next week. So actually, going into earnings, if I find that Tuesday this is sitting here in this zone here, I will actually probably grab some more leaps. I think ultimately is what I want out of that one. So I do like Facebook coming into this week. BYND, I'm still in a pretty decent size position in shares in this. So I'm excited to see this one. This one held well even after the sell-off, and it's getting ready to pop. So like I said, although this particular, should actually color code this because it's being a pretty strong support. I hope this actually does not, what am I doing here? I hope this actually is not an ascending wedge and then falls off. I mean, it's starting to kind of peak here. So we'll see if it keeps banging against the zone and then still riding the trend, breaks up 200. I'm really thinking it's going to go for 200 for earnings. Earnings, I believe, is at the end of February. I think a lot of them are end of February. I know Netflix has earnings this week. I think it's on Tuesday, actually. I didn't play Netflix at all. I didn't realize Netflix was actually, earnings was that close. Snow, I'm still sitting in this. Man, this thing is just, it takes forever, but when it pops, I know it's still a newer IPO, but when it pops, it is definitely have some crazy pop. So that's what I'm trying to catch as one of these on this, and it's just consolidation. So more than likely, it's just being patient with this thing. I will not add any more to this because, like I've said before, I'm not a huge Snow fan. I know a lot of people may be, and that's great for them. But for me, I want this just to pop up and then reallocate those funds somewhere else. Etsy, I still love Etsy. I'm waiting for a bigger dip. I'm just not sure where here yet. I mean, it's kind of sitting at a solid support. That's why we got a nice little bounce out of it. But it does, the EMAs are starting to curl over. Maybe 186. Maybe catch a 186 wick and go from there and see what happens. But tan, I'm sitting in this, and this thing just, I'm only in shares, so I'm not really worried about this because I think over the long haul, this will really benefit out of the plan. And I think this week, and that's why I wasn't really concerned about a lot of the stuff that I was in. Again, mostly shares and leaps because of the fact that I think on Inauguration Day, we're going to get a speech talking about the new plan and the infrastructure and this stuff just jetting. So I'm not concerned at all about this stuff. And if need be, I'll hold it until she runs up, but that's what I got. This one, same thing. This one I just have a leap in. Hit support, it's holding. Don't want it to go below that, but it is what it is. I think it was just kind of repositioning. Some people are probably getting out from the right up. So we'll see. I think this week, these two, TAN and ENPH, will run this week for sure. When it's getting closer, if it comes down to my zone, I'm definitely getting in it. This is my zone. This is my buy zone for Win. If you're going to follow me, you got to know that if it comes around that anything under probably like 104-ish, 105-ish on Win is like a buy because essentially it just pops up and it rides. I do like Win. I like to play Win, especially now that it's back over 100 again. I think definitely, again, this is one of my other ones for casinos. Win is always my favorite one. NIO, I was in those sleep puts. I was sold down. I actually sold it on that drop Friday too. I don't see it dropping much. It could drop maybe down to 504. It could drop a little bit more, but I ended up selling it. I just wanted to reallocate the funds. I figured that this was going to be a big enough drop that I would sell it and then wait for the next push going into earnings, and then we'll start looking at puts again at that point. So that was my plan on that one. AMD, I actually grabbed this. It was a dumb move. It went up, and I still stayed in it. Actually, it was right here. Now it was holding here and it dropped. Yeah, so I'm still on AMD. Going into earnings, I'm not sure when AMD earnings are, but I am holding this. Again, it could go to zero. I'm in calls. I really don't care. I have profit to cover it, so I'm okay. You're going to take red every now and again. You have to be okay with it. Just manage risk, right? Like this position isn't huge. My conviction for this trade was not huge. So the red loss I got for it was not huge. When I have strong conviction, then I'll load the boat. BA, it's ripped. It finally broke, and then now it's selling off. But I think what it might be doing is just retesting, going back into that zone. Might be well worth buying. I'm watching it rip back up out of here again. I'm not going to play it. BA is my temptress. I do not play her. She plays me. Bango is setting up. Looks like a nice wedge here. We might get a nice little pop. At least a little over a 50-cent pop on this wedge, I would assume. At least 15%, if not more. Maybe see 10. Maybe test 10 on bingo. Kind of on watch, but I think I'm looking for the bigger moves this week. And normally I don't like chasing this wedge. I don't think it, from my perspective, you can go ahead and play it, but from my perspective, it's just strictly a day's trade is what that is right there. So I think that's a good day trade. If you want that day trade, bingo is a good day trade. I definitely not would buy that and hold it because I don't know how much more it's got to run. But this one here, the BIIO, I like this. The consolidation's been building up. I wasn't sure if I looked at leaps at this or not. I think it's waiting on news to get approval for testing on the phone to get the virus testing on the phone. So I want to grab a leap on this. I don't know why I waited on this, and it might be too late. By come Tuesday, this might already start moving up. But if it is sitting here, I will look at leaps. I don't think you can't go a year out. I think it only goes to July. NGA, I talked about a little bit. I did sell essentially everything up here on the top open. It did dip down. I did buy more shares here. So, but ultimately, if I can get a 30.46 entry here, I'll be looking at the July calls, which is about as far out as you can go with options for NGA. So I'll definitely be looking at those and holding those. The GIK, this is another EV play here. I did take some calls on this dip. It looks like it's ready to gap up. I think my calls are good for July. If that's the case, I'll definitely be holding this. I think EVs are going to benefit a lot. And again, I think Wednesday on Inauguration Day, these things might jet. Being said, my jet BLBD, yeah, baby. She gapped up Friday. I didn't even see this. I was actually looking over my account, I think late last night, and I was like, holy cow, this thing gapped up. I didn't even notice it gapped up that much, but I'm only holding shares in this one, but I probably got a pretty decent size in this thing. So nonetheless, I'm going to ride this out for a couple months, actually, to be honest. I think, a lot of EV is hot right now. And so right now, especially with the new infrastructure coming in and new stuff being implemented, I think this one's really going to run. ZM looks good. I'm not playing it. You can. Workhorse, Garbage, selling. I'm not even looking at Workhorse. I think there's other better plays. Very good Butcher. I want it down. If I can get it back here at 435, I want to load the boat on this. Planet 13, I'm waiting for that. I actually had a buy order sitting here, but it didn't move at the 523 mark. If it does hit it, I'll add a pretty decent size here. Then if it goes lower, I can continue to add on to that one. Evogen, it's building. It might be another good day trade here. Might get a nice little spike, $1 or so in there. So if you load the boat on that, play it, be careful. None of this is financial advice. Proto Labs, I'm not looking at it till like it's a 152, which I think it's probably I'm pretty sure it's going to die back down in here before we go up and retest and break this wedge. I think you might be playing that for a couple days going into earnings. Planters, waiting. It needs to break back below 24 before I look at it. Space. Dying off the news. ARK Invest, adding it to the fund, the space fund. So wait till it comes back down and then actually start looking at leaps here. If it does hit this 2355, I will be adding a lot of leaps on space. Since there are aliens and the government has proved it only right during when the pandemic started. Chips, garbage. I'm just not playing it. The chips are just so much better moves, I think. T-Doc, nothing. Lemonade, really not something I'm looking at this week. It's going to be a short week, so I think there's going to be some good plays. Cost is still holding. If you want a position here, I think it might be worth playing. I might actually look at earnings play here, a shorter play, not leaps, but earnings play to cover earnings for calls. Amazon, I almost bought back into Amazon here. It's coming back in here. If Amazon is a play you want to do, I did sell the shares that I had in profit, so I'm waiting for the zone. Might be worth taking. I think there's better plays. The EV side I think is better for me. I would rather have Etsy, to be honest, if it was in a better position. Snap, I took that leap on that drop, so I'm riding that leap, and I'm going to ride that all the way into the sunset. Twillo, it's too high. I can't believe it's at 400 already. I remember it was down here at 200. The spot looks good too, actually. If it comes below that 311, spot would be a good position to grab there, especially going into earnings. Yeah, so I had the alert set. I'm looking at spot, I think would be a good grab. I didn't even realize it was at hit 370 already. So if it does break again below that 311, I'll be looking to grab a position on that. Disney's going to be a beast, I think, this year with everything going on, but I would really like it at 155 before even considering getting in. Shop, junk right now. HG junk. Chef, too high in my opinion. Baba had a nice break, but it's consolidating. It's coming back down. I think there's better plays than Baba right now. That's just my opinion. I don't really like to play e-commerce too much, but my favorite is definitely becoming Etsy. Riots, hit the top. I'm not looking too hot right now. Dropbox. Nope. Fastly, nope. I think that's pretty much it. Actually, let me swap this over real quick. There was one other one. Home. I would like to get in home. Like I said before, I like home, but I need it back down in here at this 1562 before I even consider taking. Actually, probably want a little bit lower than that. Remove that one. So the 15. Get about 1550. If it gets below that, I'm going to start taking position on that. Elf might actually be a good one. It did hit support, so I am watching this. If it does break below the 23 mark, I'm going to look to get something to cover earnings for Elf. I think this can definitely pop. I think it's worth a couple calls, in my opinion. But yeah, I like Elf too, along with Etsy. So going for the Xmas move. But that's pretty much what I got, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys are doing fantastic. I hope you guys are having a fantastic long weekend. I will have another video, guys, out for you guys on Monday. So have a good one, and I'll catch you guys later.